All righty, Lynn Thompson with the Cat Writers Association here, and I'm here with Amy Shojai, who is one of the 4 founders of the Cat Writers. So welcome, Amy. Just tell us a little bit about the founding of the CWA way back in November of 1992.
Oh, yes.
Where, when, how, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Well, I had been writing for the Pet Press for some time, and I've been a member of the Dog Writers Association of America for many years. And it really puzzled me and frustrated me that there was not a similar organization for people that write about cats, because I was entering contest at the Dog Writers, but I was writing a whole lot more about cats than I was dogs. So it was purely selfish on my part. I wanted a contest. and I figured there were a lot of writers out there that felt similarly. And so I wrote a letter to the editors that I was working with at Cat Fancy, at Cats Magazine, and ask them if they were interested or not. And we ended up with 4 people that I'm in North Texas. I'm in Sherman, Texas. It's about a 2.5, 3 hours from Fort Worth. And the CFA International Cat Show was going to be that November in Fort Worth, and they were all going to be there. And so we said, well, let's get together and talk about it and see what the interest is and what we might need to do. And so Michael Brim from Cats Magazine, he was their public relations specialist, handled a lot of the advertising for them. And he was also very active in CFA at that time. So he was going to be there. I'd never met him before. And my editor, Debbie Phillips-Donalds from Cat Fancy magazine, and she brought Suzanne Stowe with her, who was the circulation manager. And so it was the 4 of us that got together and got to talking about, well, here's what we would need to do. And, in the meantime, I had also written to the secretary of Dog Writers Association and said, we're thinking about doing this. Can you give me any tips? And she sent me this wonderful letter with, like a 3 single-space page letter. And this was snail mail. This was back in the snail mail days.
Yeah.
With, all the different things that they had done, how they had incorporated some tricks and tips to do and what not to do. She warned about opening up a newsletter to reviews of members' books, because you can get in trouble with that if somebody doesn't. Yes. So a lot of really great information. And so we all came together, and the first meeting was basically, well, let's see, what are the officers that we need to put together? And we needed a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. We needed 4, and we had 4 people there. And I said, basically, I'll do anything except treasurer. You don't want me handling money.
Yeah.
And
I'm right there with you.
So Suzanne Stowe was our first treasurer. Debbie Phillips-Donaldson was the secretary. Michael Brim volunteered quick like a bunny for vice president. And by default, I was the president. And Michael surprised us all because we were not planning to announce this until we had more of our kittens in a row. And we had a list of people that we wanted to invite to be on our first board of directors to kind of steering committee to see what we needed to do. But he got up at the banquet that night at CFA show in front of all of these cat show people and all of these folks who were publishing already their cat newsletters, and said, we've just formed the Cat Writers Association. And if you're interested, it was like, Michael, what are you doing? And so there was this huge influx of interest. We sent out press releases to all of the cat publications, but also to all the writers organizations. And we got a lot of our brand new members from reading these little short press release blurbs in Writer's Digest magazine and The Writer, and some of those, and many of those Sandra Tony was one, and she is still a member. She was one of the early members that came in because she saw that little invitation. And so that's kind of how we got started. It was kind of like, well, jump off a cliff and then hope you can fly. But
Yep.
That's what kittens do too. And luckily kittens, they may not land on all fours, but they do tend to bounce a little bit. And so we survived those early years, and my goodness, here we are like 30 years later.
Isn't it amazing? I mean, did you ever imagine back then?
Well, I used to say, well, in dog years, I should be dead. But in cat years, I'm just in my maybe fifth life. So it's going strong.
Yeah, well, let's hope the CWA is there too.
Absolutely.